How do you spiritually, emotionally, and personally deal with life change after divorce? Okay, after being divorced for almost 3 years and has continued to heal, I find the process stirring, productive, and life changing in every way. With this, I have a desire to marry again while waiting as God transforms and continues to heal my life. How do you spiritually, emotionally, and personally deal with life change after divorce? First of all, I want to say that there is life after divorce. Divorce is a type of death. Okay, anybody that goes through divorce, most people go through divorce unless a person's heart is just hardened. But if you're a woman who really desires to do the will of God and the Word of God, divorce for you would be very, very difficult. I would be concerned about someone that divorce was light and cheery. You know, there was no pain attached to it because it's like a death. Okay, it's a type of death. It's loss. Dealing with loss now, loss of property, people losing their homes, losing their jobs. Loss is very devastating. And what loss can bring with it, it brings a type of grief. And grief has with it a process. The process of grief, you go through a lot of different stages. The same thing with the process of coming out of a divorce. You go through the stages of the death of a dream, or the death of your vision, where your goals are challenged. You go through a season, of condemnation, or usually what did I do, or what could I have done, or why did I wait so long? I'm dealing with a young lady now who's going through, and she just can't seem to get over the fact that she's been in this marriage so long, and for so long it's been so unproductive, and not just has it been unproductive, because I don't think that we marry someone just to be productive, but it not just was it unproductive, but there were some things in the marriage that she wasn't telling anyone, forms of abuse. And I want to deal with the word abuse because I don't want to take that word abuse loosely, because I think it can be overused. Okay, I was watching, don't ask me why, excuse me, I'm in Chicago, I shouldn't say that, Oprah the other day. And she was talking to a couple of people, the lady that castrated her husband, and the other girl, the skater, And as the skater was talking, every other word out of her mouth was when I was abused, when I was abused. I don't believe in using the word abuse as an excuse for you not to grow spiritually, for you not to pray, for you not to make better decisions, and what have you. Abuse is real, but I don't want us to use that as a crutch for everything. Some of the situations you're in your life because you made the wrong decision. Some of the decisions in your life because you didn't listen to God. Some of the things you're going through in your life is because you just were rebellious and you didn't want anybody to tell you what to do. Straight up in here, somebody. So just don't blame everything on, he abused me, the church abused me, everybody abused you. But abuse is real. And part 2 of my book, I'm dealing with the first chapter, and then I deal with restoration of the damaged soul. I have my assistant, Kay, making a copy of an article that I wrote in Spirit-Led Women on restoring the feminine soul and the restoration of the feminine soul and the kind of things that we go to be restored, okay? And so I think the question here is, how do you spiritually, emotionally, and personally deal with life change? Your life changes after divorce, okay? If there's children, there's really, really a lot of change. And I was saying to someone, it's important how we see the children, and that what we can do to remain friendly and respectful, because the children love both parents, and you don't want to pull those children apart. Children will probably have some separation areas they deal with, some abandonment issues, okay, some rejection issues, just in lieu of the divorce itself. Okay, because two people that they love. Some children want you to divorce him because he says, Mama, you should have been with him that long anyhow. He was abusive. You know what I mean? But most of it, the young people, usually, if they're young, they don't know. They usually want you to stay together. I think the best way to deal with it, you have to have a good, strong support base. A support base doesn't mean someone who tells you you're right all the time, okay? But a support base is people that are friends or family, someone that will listen to you, and someone you will listen to. Someone that there's a mutual respect between the two of you or the three of you. Okay, that's healthy. What you don't want to do is you don't want to talk to everybody about it. You don't want to try to exonerate yourself and get everybody on your side. You don't want to begin to talk about your husband or your ex-husband and all he did and what have you, so to make yourself look like you, Miss Rose Peach of 2009, okay? Because anytime there's a divorce, there's two people involved, and both of us have messed up in some areas. There's never some one person where it's all his fault, it's all her fault. And so I believe the best way to deal with it, first of all, is spiritually. I said earlier that you need to get a release from God if you even think about going divorce. I said, how would anybody go and pray and ask God, should I get a divorce? I believe if you're praying for your marriage, you ought to continue to seek God in everything. If you think about divorce, but of course you should pray about it. So I don't want to pray because I know God's going to tell me to stay in it. Well, you don't want truth then. If you want truth, doesn't matter what God tells you. You just want truth, and you want to do what God says do. You have to understand there are seasons in marriage, and some of the seasons in marriage, could be laying on the beach in Florida someplace. Other ones could be a Katrina. Okay, there's some seasons, and every season's not the same. And so you just have to learn to roll with the punches, so to speak. And I don't mean that as a pun. Don't let anybody hit you. Okay, that wasn't a real good choice of words, was it? Okay, you just need to go with the cycles in life. It's a better way to put it. And so for you to think, I think a person's expectations, faulty expectations on marriage is that it's supposed to be, somebody's supposed to make you happy all the time. That's unrealistic. That's very unrealistic. And so I think that when you go through it, then you talked about a time of restoration. Restoring the feminine soul, first of all, I believe, begins with your relationship with God, a friendly, loving relationship, knowing that He loves you. He said He'll never leave you nor forsake you. I think another thing you have to understand in dealing with a life after divorce, emotionally and spiritually, is that divorce is not the unpardonable sin. It's not the sin unto death. Okay, we need to understand that. As much as I am an advocate for families and marriage, okay, I do understand that if a person goes through divorce, that doesn't mean that you cannot be restored and God cannot fulfill you and your life